Hello and welcome back to Allcarnews, and today we're here with the 2023 Toyota 4Runner 40th Anniversary Edition. Now the Toyota 4Runner name has been around for 40 years obviously, but this current one has been around for over a decade. But that means absolutely nothing as sales are still through the roof. The strongest sales year actually of this generation, the 5th generation 4Runner, it was 2021 and it went on sale back in 2009. So it's still pushing really strong. So what's unique with this special 40th anniversary edition? We're gonna dive into that in this video. I'm gonna tell you guys why I've actually really enjoyed driving this 4Runner around for the past week. So let's dive into this video right now and I'm gonna show you guys all about this awesome SUV. Okay guys, so let's take a full in-depth tour and review of this awesome 4Runner. So again, this is the 2023 Toyota 4Runner 40th Anniversary Edition. Now this is kind of based off the SR5 Premium package, and it's basically adding this visual 40th Anniversary Edition package to the exterior and some interior bits as well. So what are you really getting? So outside, as you can see, there really is these bold color graphics that are a nod back to older Toyota trucks. I think it looks really epic. It's really bold and imposing side graphic on the side of the vehicle. Now, most of this package is pretty much all visual, so it's nothing really too kind of enhancing an off-road capability or anything. That you're gonna have to go for some TRD packages. So on that front, we have these really cool bronze wheels that are exclusive to this package. I think they look absolutely awesome. You have the Toyota spelled out right there as well. But these tires aren't really the best things for off-roading. They're Bridgestone Dueler HT tires, and their really main purpose is for kind of comfort on the road, actually. So you're going to want to go with an all-terrain tire, a more aggressive all-terrain tire, or a little bit more of a mud and snow tire if you want to do some more serious off-roading. Nonetheless, you do have fantastic ground clearance on all 4Runner models, and good approach and departure angles. Now up front, we are getting a unique fascia as well. So we have this really bold and imposing Toyota front end, and you can see the Toyota badge spelled out for you right up there. And I really love this bronze accent that's gone around the entire 4Runner 40th Anniversary Edition package. I really like that going around the entire vehicle. And you can kind of see that cool decal graphic brought into the front of the grille as well. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. And again, this face is really big, bold, and imposing. I really think it looks great on the roads as well. And it looks cool as black paint. You can also get this in white, I believe, and red. So it's not many colors you can get the 40th Anniversary Edition in. Nonetheless, I think it still looks really cool. Coming out to the rear, again, nothing much has really changed on the exterior. And, you know, this 4Runner's been on sale for over 11 years now. So, again, there's been minor updates to the lights over the years, but again, LED tail lights, which is over here, which is nice with some incandescent bulbs on top, so a combination over there. And again, that really cool bronze 4Runner badging with the Toyota logo out back. Again, this is exclusive to this edition. We also have a really nice 4Runner 40th Anniversary Edition plaque on the rear trunk as well, which is really nice. And this one also comes with a tow hitch. You can tow up to 5,000 pounds with the 4Runner. It's a decent amount of towing, though it's not the best you could probably get. But with that engine and gearbox and how reliable they are, it's probably going to do all that pretty reliably. Now, this is not paint, if you were wondering. These are decals, so you can kind of see my finger kind of catching on the decal there. Wonder how those will age over time, but nonetheless, they do look good. I do like this package. I think it's a really nice, refreshing look for the 4Runner, though I kind of wish they offered it in a more aggressive off-road spec 4Runner, so maybe like the TRD Pro. You could have gotten this kind of scheme on it. I think that would have been really cool, but nonetheless, it does look really nice and imposing on the exterior. Let me know what you guys think about the design of the 4Runner 40th Anniversary Edition down in the comment section below. Okay guys, time to take a tour of the interior space of this 4Runner 40th Anniversary Edition model. Now, all 4Runners are pretty much the same. So you're getting 5 passenger seating inside. I believe this is optional 3rd row. Don't quote me on that, but it's pretty much the same space inside. Now, one of the cool things about the 4Runner is that there's a huge amount of cargo space. So unfortunately, this is not a powered trunk, and it is a little bit heavy to operate. I do like how Toyota offers you this kind of lock and unlock switches on the rear trunk if you don't want to go all around the car to lock it, or you don't have your key on you. I think that's pretty cool. But to open this, you're gonna have to really manhandle that big thing open. You do have gas struts to assist you, but nonetheless, you're getting a massive amount of cargo space. I think it's over 90 cubic feet. I'm gonna put the exact number for you guys right there when the seats are folded down, and it's a huge amount of space. Now, you will notice there is a pretty interestingly high and deep load-in height. So this whole space you can't really occupy it, unfortunately, but once you do get inside, there is a lot of space inside the 4Runner. The spare is underneath the vehicle over here on a more traditional way for kind of truck frame platform. So that does actually give you a lot of space in here. And you have this really cool pull down tab if you want to kind of just pull it in if you're hopping in there. And I say you can hop in there because this window actually rolls down, and you can actually kind of just chill in there or drive with that window down. It's a really cool feature. And I love this little nod to the 4Runner's 40th anniversary right here with this cool history of all the 4Runners. We're on the 5th generation 4Runner right now. This is a really cool little Easter egg that Toyota's thrown in there. And of course, it's in that awesome bronze shade as well. So hopping into the rear seats, we do have the doors open right now, I believe. Yes, we can hop in. And there is actually a lot of space in the 4Runner. I think it's actually a really spacious interior. On the door panels, we have this kind of like soft faux leather material with this bronze stitching going across. Really nice. Let's hop inside. It's a little bit of a high step in to get in. Nice solid thunk from the doors. You have your automatic. All 4 windows are automatic up and down, which is nice. And you have a decent amount of legroom, actually. This is my driving position. I can kind of like stretch out back here. And these seats are pretty cushy, actually. I really do like them. It's almost like you're sitting on a couch, actually. They do sit really high, so you kind of have that commanding position over the driver. So this is like my eye level right here. So you're looking over the driver, kind of like out over to the road. If you have kids that really want to feel like they're in command and in charge, this is a really cool back seat for them, actually. And in the center console over here, we have 2 cup holders, which is really nice. Again, all that nice soft padded material as well. You do have 2 USB-C ports back here, which is nice. So some nice fast charging, and you do have air vents as well. And both rear seats do have a little bit of some storage cubbies for you to store stuff in. And the doors don't really have that much in terms of storage up here, but you do get a little more storage space down there. And you have your speakers right there. Now you might notice actually there's a pretty flat floor back here. There's a little tiny bit of a hump, but that's mostly due to this being a ladder frame chassis. So most of the drivetrain is like kind of underneath the cab of the vehicle. So that's kind of why you don't have a massive hump, but it's a little bit of a hump there. So that's a kind of easy to kind of like cross through the rear. If you want to have a passenger sitting in the middle, it does make it a little bit easier as well. Now let's go take a little bit of a look on the front end of this cabin over here, and we're going to open up the front door. Again, pretty easy, pretty wide opening as well. I actually quite like that. Again, similar stuff on the door panels. We have this really nice bronze stitching going across on all of the door panels. This kind of soft full leather material. It does feel actually durable and very nice. And I do like these 40th anniversary edition 4Runner floor mats. They aren't all weather floor mats, which I do think this should have, but I do like this badge and logo on there. And you do also get that badge and logo embossed into the headrest, so that 40th anniversary edition 4Runner on there as well. I think it's a really nice touch. And that also continues with that bronze stitching throughout the entire cabin, which I think is really a nice feature. So let's hop inside here. Again, a little bit of a step in to get up. You don't have side steps to get in, but this sill is, I think, big enough to kind of hop into. And this offers a really nice grabbing point to get in as well, if you do need it. Again, nice solid thunk from the doors to get in as well. And now we're inside the front of the 4Runner. And over these years, Toyota has added a lot of modern features actually to kind of like spruce it up into being a little bit more of a modern vehicle. So we do have a push button stop start system. So putting your foot on the brake, we'll start up the 4Runner. Get a little bit of a cool graphic right there. 4Runner, awesome. But you will see how dated this interior is by looking at it, obviously. So you see this really old kind of like digital clock right here. You have a little bit of this cool plasticky material up here, but it seems rugged enough. I do like the 40th anniversary edition 4Runner badge here, and I almost forgot to mention this is a limited edition model, so they're only making 4,040 units of these, which is really cool. So you do have a little bit of a piece of 4Runner history here. Again, those nice embossed 40th anniversary edition badges on the headrest. And it's pretty much of a barren interior. And I think people do actually like the simplicity of it, because you do still have all the amenities that you're going to get in modern vehicles, but with that kind of simplicity and I guess ease of use in here as well. So just looking at these climate control knobs, they're absolutely massive knobs, and they feel a little bit like cheap when they're turning around, but they're easy to use. You have cold, hot, and that's it. You don't have automatic climate control, but you can turn your fan speed right here. You have your AC button, big right in the center with your different vent controls, recirculating air, heated rear windows, and your side mirrors as well. And that's pretty much it for your climate. It's all big analog controls right here, and quick and access for you to use. I will say that the heated steering wheel button located here is a little annoying, because I accidentally almost turned the engine off while driving, because I can't really see it. Because when you're sitting in your position while you're driving, you can't really see those buttons. You kind of have to lean over, but over time, muscle memory will probably make that pretty easy. Up here, 2 air vents as well, big giant hazard light switch, and you do have this infotainment system, which is to put it lightly, is horrible, but you have Apple CarPlay. Just throw it on, plug it in with the USB port right here, and don't really have to worry about it. Android Auto as well. It's not wireless, of course, but I would just throw that on and don't even have to worry about the infotainment system. You do have Bluetooth control as well, so you can connect your phone via Bluetooth if you don't want to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You do have a lot of visibility. I think these windows are pretty huge. There might be a little bit of a better visibility, I wish, from the hood, but you know, it's a big truck SUV. If you want to sit higher, you can sit higher, I guess, look over it. But being this big truck-based SUV, I wish it had a good, solid camera system. And yes, it's old, and I'm sure this will be improved in the future, but the rear camera, I know this one doesn't have the 360 camera, but the rear camera is absolutely terrible. It's the grainiest camera I think I've ever seen on the planet. I'm not sure if this is coming off in camera, but it's really, really bad. And if you look at the screen kind of like off center, it's really blurry, and oh gosh, it's not good. And there is a 360 camera available for it, but I honestly wouldn't even care about it because it's even worse. So I wouldn't even worry about that. Coming over to your kind of driver zone over here, we have our older style Toyota steering wheel. This nice wrapped steering wheel. It looks like perforated material, but it's more of like a grippy material. It's really nice. Again, it's heated, which is a good convenience. And you do have actually radar cruise control on this 4Runner. So you have your distance control right here, and you have your lane departure warning system. There's no lane keep assist, so it's not going to nudge the steering wheel with you at all. It's just going to beep at you if you kind of sway out of the lanes. And you can access your cruise control settings from this stock right here, so kind of an older style stock. No automatic headlights or anything, so you're gonna have to remember to turn your lights off all the time. So you have your DRLs, your parking lights, and your full LED high beams and low beams right there, which is nice. And you do have your fog light control as well. Your mirror controls are located over here with your automatic high beam control. And you have your dimmer switch for your interior lighting as well, which is nice. You have your this is the button to actually access your rear power outlet, which is cool, so you can turn that on and off. And you do have a windshield wiper de-icer as well. I love that feature, actually. Hey guys, coming down to the lower center console area over here, you can tell this was kind of designed in a time before big phones were kind of like around. So this little storage cubby is a little bit small. I'm not sure what you would even put there, maybe keys or something, especially this space is too not that deep. I could barely fit my wallet in there actually. But these cup holders, even though they're kind of weirdly placed, they're kind of cool because you can remove this right here and put in a larger cup as well. And the same goes for this one as well. You kind of have a little bit of extra space. I found this is like the best place to put your phone most of the time. You kind of have this little like coin cubby right here as well. Nonetheless, a lot of like weird storage solutions, but they don't all make the most amount of sense. This is your automatic gearbox control. You have your shifter lever right here, this big giant shifter lever, so you can kind of rest your hand on it really easily. You have reverse, neutral, drive, and you kind of have this manual mode if you want to shift yourself here, which I honestly would not recommend doing in this vehicle. Really old style seat heating controls with this little scroll wheel right here. Kind of like have like two settings really to kind of turn it on or off. And this is actually your window switch for your rear tailgate window. So if I press this down, it's automatic as well. You can see the tailgate window go down back there, which is awesome. I love that feature. That's one of my favorite features of the 4Runner. I hope that they keep that on the 2024 model when that comes out in the future. But again, pretty simple controls, nothing too crazy or out of advance here. You do have, again, that bronze stitching on the center console, big giant open cubby space over here with some more power outlets over there, a little bit more storage over here as well, and a solid thunk when that closes as well. And again, that's pretty much it. And that's the interior of the 4Runner. But I think the interesting part is we're going to take this on a drive, because I've actually come to like the 4Runner, especially with this tire on it and not a more aggressive tire. It's actually not the worst thing on the road, but let's go take it on a drive right now and I'll show you that. Nonetheless, we're going to take this thing on a drive. We have a 5-speed automatic gearbox over here. We have a 4-liter naturally aspirated big old V6 engine under the hood. We have our 4 high. We have low 4 and normal. We're driving in rear-wheel drive, so this is our controller for that. If you go for a higher end 4Runner, you're gonna get a little bit more controls for different differentials and stuff, a little more off-road control. This one doesn't have too many features. We don't get the 360 camera option, which isn't that good anyway, so don't really need it. And that's pretty much it. We do have additional more 8-track buttons over here, as well as a traction control button, home link and all that stuff. But let's take this on a little bit of drive. Now, the 4Runner, like I said, I'm sure we all know, has been on sale for the past, over 10 years now, since 2009. And, well, it's definitely feeling its age, at least in the technology department. But that doesn't really make a big difference because this thing has actually sold its best sales ever in 2021. And this is a car that came out in 2009. And I think that's just a testament to people like traditional things. Not only do they like traditional things, but they like reliable things. And this 4Runner is both of those. It's traditional and ultra reliable. These things will run forever. Big old naturally aspirated V6 under the hood. It's been proven to go endless amounts of miles, hundreds of thousands, possibly even 1 million miles. I wouldn't be surprised. And of course, this 5-speed automatic gearbox is pretty simple. You know, the new trucks from Toyota have 10 speeds, so more things could go wrong. The hybrids now, all that stuff. So people like this traditional SUV shape. Now on the road, the 4Runner is not the best, but I actually have come to like it a little bit. So driving it this past week, you know, this is a body on frame truck at the end of the day. And so we have the ladder frame chassis, live rear axle out back, and this suspension, I have to say, is really soft, both on and off-road. And I think it has an absolutely fantastic ride quality, actually, for the 4Runner. I've actually really like this car just because of that feature. Completely different type of vehicle, but I did just get out of the Mazda CX-50 Meridian Edition. That's a unibody crossover vehicle, though nonetheless it is trying to be some sort of off-road version. And the big thing they missed out on there is that they didn't make a softer suspension setup. It was way too stiff, both on and off-road, I think, for that type of vehicle. And I think this is really a fantastic balance right here. Now this engine, oh boy, definitely likes to wring itself out. It has around 270-ish horsepower and around 280 pound-feet of torque. Again, naturally aspirated. You have a 5-speed automatic gearbox, like I said, and you can put it into like an S mode. If you really want to, you could manually go through the gears. Gets up and goes. It's perfectly fine. Now, what isn't fine, though, unfortunately, is the fuel economy is not very good. You're going to get max probably around 20 miles to the gallon. On the highway, that's probably where you're going to get that. Otherwise, it's going to be around 17 or 18 miles to the gallon on average. That's just what you're going to get. It's an older vehicle, old, big, naturally aspirated engine, old technology, and that's just what you're going to be getting there. So if you can't deal with the fuel economy, I wouldn't choose the 4Runner, but I actually have really come to like it. Now the steering wheel itself is really nice, at least with the leather wrapping. It is heated. There's a heated button over here. We have our older style Toyota controls, so you do actually have radar cruise control on this one, which is shocking. That's a more recent feature, obviously. And you do have blind spot monitoring as well, and I think a pre-collision avoidance system as well, which is really fantastic. On the road handling, you know, is not good, and that's not where the big highlights of this truck really are. Nonetheless, it is fine to drive around on the daily basis. You have a fantastic amount of visibility around around you completely. Huge big windows, really tall SUV driving position as well. I think it's fantastic. Steering itself is very light and loose, which you would kind of expect with a bigger truck, kind of more off-road oriented vehicle. This actually does help in off-road settings, but obviously on the road it isn't the most confidence inspiring thing on the planet. I have gotten used to it though over this past week. And again, we are running a bit of a larger tire as well, which could aid into that lighter steering feel. There's a lot of play in the steering before you actually get kind of anywhere with that. I do really like the sound of the V6 actually. It has a nice old school feel to it. You know, it even has an old belt driven engine fan as well, so you kind of hear that spooling up when you turn the car on. I don't know, it has a cool, like, older vibe to it. I really do like it. You know, and these vehicles were pretty popular back in the day. These big ladder frame chassis, live rear axle, off-roader type SUVs. Those were SUVs, and the car-like SUVs we see today have kind of taken over the market, and people still really like these cars. They want this bigger, more robust, more, I guess, actually pretty more reliable types of vehicles in the long run, and durable as well. Now, one little weird downside I've actually noticed is that it can only tow up to 5,000 pounds. I'm not sure if that's due to the gearbox or the engine, but even like a Dodge Durango can tow more, and that's a unibody chassis. So that's a little bit of an interesting thing, but I think you'll be doing this reliably in this thing with all these big old toughened parts. Now I want to take you guys on a little bit of a off-road section. I wouldn't call it too much off-road, but it is a dirt road. We're up here in upstate New York, well, upstate Westchester, New York, and there's a lot of cool dirt roads up here. It's a good place to kind of get a good test of the 4Runner, because at the end of the day, these more common spec 4Runners are just going to be driven around daily on normal roads. Not all people are taking these off roads. Where I live personally, I live in the suburbs, and all I see are 4Runners actually now that I'm looking at it. There's all kinds of 4Runners, and I actually today saw this exact car drive right past me, and the look on these people's faces were like, oh my gosh, there's another one. And I think that look kind of came from, there's only 4,040 of these for the entire US market. So it's a pretty cool limited edition, and it was an exact spec to it, so that's pretty funny. But on this kind of gravel road, it handles very, very well. Then that soft suspension again comes into play really, really well. I think it soaks up bumps really well. I don't feel too much stuff in the cabin personally, and that's really fantastic for a ladder frame chassis as well. I think they did a really great job on the suspension, and it's handling it perfectly. Now, obviously regular cars can go up and down these roads. This isn't some kind of crazy off-road trail, but unfortunately we don't really have that in this area of New York, and I would have to drive hours and hours and hours away to find one, which I would love to do, but unfortunately I don't have that time. But this is pretty much where you're going to see these cars on a daily basis, or in a mall parking lot, unfortunately. But it's doing pretty fine out here, and I think it's fantastic. And I'm really curious to see what Toyota is going to be doing with the 4Runner. We know a new one is coming really soon, and it's probably going to be based on the upcoming or the newer TNGA-F, or the new ladder frame chassis architecture. We're probably going to see things like that new hybrid max powertrain, which is a 4-cylinder engine under the hood with a hybrid powertrain. Obviously, you're going to get more power and a newer gearbox and all that stuff, but I'm going to be really interested to see if they kind of keep this more retro, kind of toned down interior and kind of controls and everything, or are they going to go all high tech like they've done in the new Tundra and even the new Sequoia? Because I think people really appreciate this more simplistic, easy to use vehicle, and they feel like they're going to get a more reliable experience out of it. And I think you are, because everything is just really simple, easy to use, kind of more solid feeling and rugged. We're a little bit of a harder patch of this gravel here. Handles really well actually on off-road conditions. And you have all the amenities you need in here too. You have Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, you got the touch screen, you got heated seats, LED projector lights, and all that stuff. You got radar cruise control. I think that's why people still keep buying these things too. Well then, here we are, guys. This beautiful sunset day on this nice drive with this 4Runner 40th anniversary edition, and I really have to say I've been enjoying this car for the past week. And there's Mach-E right there, some modern vehicles going up and down these roads as well. And I do really understand why people buy and drive these big truck SUVs. They're comfortable, they look cool, I think they have these timeless designs with them, and despite the poor fuel economy, and maybe this one particular has some older tech and stuff inside because it is an older vehicle, I get why people are still buying them. It's just still a solid, reliable, big SUV. And while gas is still relatively cheap and just projecting into the future, I think they still make a little bit of sense to buy around, especially if you live in maybe in a more off-road style area, or if you want to do some mild off-roading with that safety of having a little bit more capability, or if you don't want to get a Wrangler, because this does drive better than a Wrangler, I can tell you that, and it's almost just as capable in the higher trims, this is still a very solid choice. So thank you for Toyota for providing this 4Runner 40th anniversary edition for me for the week to test out, and I'm really looking forward to see what they're coming out with in the future. Cheers, guys.